Elon Musk also was able to actively undermine the regulatory agencies and the federal apparatus in ways that Steve Bannon could never dream of. This is part of the reason why Steve Bannon keeps saying that Elon Musk is a parasitic illegal immigrant who should be cast aside, who should be kicked out. Except when directly asked about Elon Musk, Anyway, let's get back to national politics, where I suspect we'll talk about DEI again. Donald Trump celebrates his first month in office amid sweeping policy changes.
Now on President Trump and Elon Musk's purge of the federal workforce. They celebrated their sweeping change to the government last night as thousands of IRS workers are fired in the middle of tax season. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has the story. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. Well, 1 month into his term, and the president and his team are lauding their overhaul of the federal government and defending their of federal employees fired so far deserve to go. But workers we've talked to say they've been given no real explanation. Overnight, President Trump celebrating his first month in office, touting his swift and sweeping policy changes.
A few hundred more weeks like this and we're going to be in great shape.
The president also praising Elon Musk and his team at DOGE for slashing federal agencies. Musk at a conservative conference in Washington, chainsaw in hand, boasting of his cuts as thousands of federal workers are now out of a job.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
Musk and the president now floating the idea of giving some of the money allegedly being saved by the DOGE team directly to the American people, without providing any details on how it would work.
It's money that's taken away from things that are destructive to the country and from organizations that hate you to you. That's awesome.
But direct payments would need congressional approval. Speaker Mike Johnson already throwing cold water on the idea.
We have a giant deficit that we're contending with. I think we need to pay down the credit card, right? That's what I think we need to do.
The latest target, the IRS. The agency now beginning to lay off more than 6,000 employees across the country, roughly 6% of its workforce, right in the middle of the busy tax season. Sources tell us no one being laid off plays a direct role in processing Americans' tax returns, but that there are still widespread concerns within the IRS that the layoffs could ultimately cause delays. In a letter this week, Senate Democrats warning of a catastrophic impact on the filing season and the ability of Americans to quickly get tax refunds and assistance filing their taxes this year.
This is an attempt to undermine the efficiency of the IRS.
IRS workers like Kia in Philadelphia informed by email.
I was like the first person on my team that got the email, and I just broke down into tears.
The administration insists, without providing evidence, that they are firing people for cause. But many of these fired workers who have only been on the job for less than 2 years say they've never even had a performance evaluation. Like Nicholas Berardi.
It even says here in the email that they're citing the reason why I'm fired is because of my performance. But until today, I hadn't gotten a performance review.
And this morning, the Washington Post is reporting that the president is preparing to take control of the U.S. Postal Service and dissolve its leadership. In the meantime, a federal judge has ruled that the Trump administration must restore funding to aid programs worldwide, finding the administration failed to comply with a previous order lifting the 90-day foreign aid freeze. Rebecca.
All right, and a lot of those lawsuits to come. Mary, thank you.
Riyadh, Berlin, Beijing.
Yeah. CPAC, of course, was filled to the brim with people who were maybe high on copious amounts of ketamine or other kinds of drugs, Elon Musk, and of course, Nazis. And here is a Nazi who has felt left out since Elon Musk has been sig-heiling a lot and once again retaining the favor of all of the worst losers online. That Nazi is Steve Bannon. Let's take a look at what he did.
Moscow, the city of London, right here. This is not beatable.
By the way, Steve Bannon replicates Elon Musk's controversial salute to CPAC. Just fucking say it's a Nazi salute, man. What is happening? Why are we doing this? Like, I like that the media just keeps refusing to recognize exactly what this is. Okay. Oh, it's a controversial salute. Like, just say what it is, man. Your job is to say the truth. What the f are we doing here? What are we doing here?
You can't. The only way we lose is if we quit. The only way we don't have victory if we surrender. The only way that they win is we retreat. And we're not going to retreat. We're not going to surrender. We're not going to quit. Fight, fight, fight.
Like very clearly, there is already internal drama between Steve Bannon and Elon Musk. Bannon hates Musk. Musk is doing everything Bannon wanted to do. Musk's Twitter is a more effective far-right narrative machine compared to Breitbart. DOGE is doing what Bannon wanted to do. This is correct. Okay? I've read extensively into the background of Steve Bannon, and I've talked about him quite a bit last time around. Steve Bannon feels a little bit sidelined. I mean, he, after all, went to fucking jail for his loyalty, right? Or at least for, doing some side deals. But Steve Bannon was Donald Trump's guy, right? First time around. He got him big donors, the Mercers specifically. Like, he helped him out. He is part of the reason why Donald Trump became president the first time. Steve Bannon is the OG Nazi here. Okay? Having said that, Elon Musk was able to, with all of his wealth, purchase Twitter and turn it into a much more effective, much larger Nazi creating machine. Elon Musk also was able to actively undermine the regulatory agencies and destroy the federal apparatus in ways that Steve Bannon could never dream of. This is part of the reason why Steve Bannon keeps saying that Elon Musk is a parasitic illegal immigrant who should be cast aside, who should be kicked out. Except when directly asked about Elon Musk, he, of course, will also say stuff like, oh, actually, he's great. He's doing a great job. I'm still skeptical of him. I think this is a reasonable take on what's going on. There's great karma in the fact that Bannon was replaced by an immigrant from Africa to boot. Okay? I mean, all jokes aside, that is the real resentment that Bannon has for Elon Musk, because Elon Musk is doing everything that he dreamt of doing, everything that he wasn't even able to successfully do. That's it. Steve Bannon wrote a whole D&D campaign and got kicked out of his own group after rolling characters. What? I don't know about this part, but Steve Bannon did actually actively get gold farms to be... Like, Steve Bannon, when he was working at Goldman Sachs, it was responsible for Goldman Sachs investing in gold farming in China, I think, for WoW. He literally did do that. That is real. What is this? It's one of the last books I've read many, many years ago at this point. Was it Devil's Bargain, I believe? Great book. We were just giving a nerd example of how he got ditched. Okay. Don't lie, you don't read. I mean, I do read, but not full books any longer. I rarely ever have time to do that. Anyway. Yeah. So Steve Bannon also saw importance in, he looked at Gamergate after his experiences with the gold farmers and like the gaming community in general, and thought, we could probably use these guys to do free media online. That was somewhat effective. I think that now, especially, that has become a prominent fixture of the Trump campaign. But now he's getting sidelined by Elon Musk, who somehow is just as repulsive as Steve Bannon, for the record, and has, in a different way, also a horrifying sense of style. Their sartorial decisions are shocking to me, okay? But yeah.
The issue that they're going to have is the...
Oops, sorry. The previous video was very low.
And that's what Elon Musk has been doing with DOGE. And he took the stage yesterday at CPAC with a chainsaw, demonstrating essentially what he's been doing.
Cool. Oh, it was so cool.
To our federal government, getting rid of all the waste, fraud, and abuse. Here it is.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw.
So the guy on stage with him that's waving, that's the president of Argentina, and he gifted Elon that blinged out chainsaw that Elon was holding up, because both of them are known for cutting wasteful
spending. Did in his country.
Right. My problem with Milu is he's tight with China, and he's reaffirming things with China, but he...
My problem with Milu God damn, dude. My problem with Melu is that he's tight with China. Professional political commentators love that, dude. Love that. Okay, Brian. I'm Brian. Kill me.
He also is friends with Elon Musk, and he said, here, take this chainsaw, and he made the most of it. And you see him getting the chainsaw handed to him in backstage, and he walks out there. But then he got serious. He says, look, I'm trying to do something really important. Watch.
People ask me, what's the most surprising thing that you've encountered when you go to D.C., when you're in D.C.? And I said, well, the most surprising thing is the scale of the expenditures. And actually...
how is that surprising? You are the expenditure recipient. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, it's so surprising that these dumbasses give me unlimited funds. That's surprising. Like, no, it's not surprising to you. You demand more of it. As a matter of fact, now with all of the extra control that you have over federal expenditures, you are going to get more of it. We're just cutting out the middlemen, okay? All Elon is doing is putting a chainsaw to the corporate lobbyists by basically coming in and going, all right, you know what? We've decided we don't even need the corporate lobbyists. We'll do it ourselves. We'll just directly be in the room. Malay, the poverty rate was 40%. Now it's at a 40-year high of 52%. This is libertarian economics at work. Excuse me. That means instead of 40% of the public having to pick themselves up by their bootstraps, now you got 52% of the public having to pick themselves up by their bootstraps. That's a good thing. That means more Sigma grind set. Okay. Hello, bigger number is better. Did we forget? I am so confused. What a confusing prospect for me. A person who is dumb and thinks right wing good, left wing bad.
How easy it is to, when you add caring and competence where it was absent before, you can actually save billions of dollars, sometimes in an hour. Yeah, like it's wild. But obviously, it just shows that they really lack empathy for the average taxpayer who's working hard, paying taxes, and then they say, oh, $1 million doesn't matter. I'm like, I think it matters a lot to people, you know. So what are you talking about?
So I'm so conflicted about DOGE because on one hand, of course, I support everything that was happening, but I feel like it's in the rundown every single day. I'm like, oh, it's DOGE, 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 DOGE. And then I go out there and I talk with the American people every single day, and that's all they're talking about is DOGE. People that are not really political, they want to see where the money is going. They want the waste to go away. And I think there's this spirit amongst Americans now. When they look at their circumstance, they look at their family struggling, some of them living paycheck to paycheck, and they see some of this outrageous spending. They're wondering why they haven't gotten some of that money. I think it's the top story every single day for a reason. It's something that resonates with the American people.
Yeah, and Elon Musk said it's going to save Medicare. It's going to save Social Security. He said this is not optional. It is essential. He said treating the government's money is no different than the way you would treat your...
Bro, this is actually nutty. It's so crazy, man. Americans we are so cooked. Like, anyone that believes this is the most cooked person on the planet, okay? For example, a dollar spent on the IRS returns to the government coffers like tenfold, okay? That means we can spend more money on initiatives like fixing the goddamn potholes, okay? Fixing education, any number of different things that are infinitely more helpful for regular Americans, okay? The greatest example of this is Elon Musk claiming that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, needed to be dismantled. It had a $1 billion budget. It's true, it did. They had only used $250 million of the $1 billion budget so far. Elon said, we're going to cut this. Okay, we're going to cut this regulatory body that was an absolute necessity that was put in place after the financial crisis of 2008. Okay, Elon Musk said, we're taking this away. We're taking this regulatory agency away from the American public. That agency with a $1 billion budget, only using $200 million so far, was able to claw back $21 billion of ill-gotten gains through fraud and abuse from corporations that were fucking over the American consumers and deliver it back to the American consumers. So for $1 billion, they returned to the American consumers $21 billion. Okay? Directly. It's not even the IRS at this point. Directly back into your pockets. Now, Elon Musk, on the other hand, claims that, oh, well, there's still $700 million in the tank. Let's just give it. Let's just give it to the American people directly. Okay, you get $3 in return. The fuck are you talking about? What's the better, what serves a better purpose? Billions of dollars of stolen revenue returned back to the consumers for the meager price of $250 million with an agency that could continue working. Clearly, corporate corruption has not gone away. They're still doing fraud. Okay? Or $3 in your pocket. What do you think? What do you think is better? What do you think is a smarter use of resources? The reason why I explain this process is because it is one of the clear-cut, it's an example that they refuse to reckon with because there is no defense of it. It is such an obvious instance of eliminating an agency that was protecting consumers from billionaire corporations and billionaires that were stealing from you. Okay? People like Elon Musk and his buddies hated the CFPB and they wanted to eradicate it. And then you'll get $3 in return. When the agency existed, you were getting hundreds of dollars in regular frequency if people were stealing from you. If corporations were stealing from you, CFPB goes in, they forcibly claw back those instances of theft and give it back to you. It's basically like good cops, okay? Good finance cops. Think about that. But of course, as the case, the only cops that do get defunded are ones that work in the field of finance, in the regulatory agencies. Bro, just watched the Trash Taste episode. It was great, but the comment section is absolute brain rot. Big Redditor energy. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know how the fuck you deal with so much hate on the regular. I think that the existence of the second Trash Taste podcast episode is how I get away with it or how I deal with it. I have great friends in this industry. I have great friends that are normies. I have a fantastic network of family and friends that I rely on, and that all of that Redditor noise is simply just noise. Okay? Trash Taste, my new Trash Taste episode is out, and we will be taking a look at it later as well. We love sweaty anime men featuring Hasan Piker. Mr. President, the second Piker has hit the Trash Taste. Why would you do this, Hasan? Really? The terrorist endorser? Shame. I noticed lately you guys are not up to date with the internet, but this is a whole new level of out of touch. Having an openly racist person on, downvote. Do not have him again, please. Holy fuck. Too bad I get irritated from just seeing his face. The guy has said so many profoundly idiotic things that I honestly cannot listen to a word from him. The brigade is on, folks. Get in and actively counter the brigade. They botted the video immediately. Lol, it's at 2.5K dislikes. You really upset the weebs this time? Yeah. 2-hour podcast, the comments from an hour ago. Yeah, no, these people don't care. They are in every sense of the word. These guys operate in the same exact way that the woke liberal social justice warrior brigade operated. Okay? They hated the wokes when they did this stuff, but they became what they hated. Okay? They don't care. They're just like, oh, I saw Hasan and I hate him. Why are you doing this? This is quite problematic. Okay? Jesus, guys, really? This goes beyond left and right, or we don't engage in politics. This guy's insane. Perhaps the people that had me on the podcast, okay, know who I am better than random people who have only been primed into hating because they watched drama farmers with no politics whatsoever, with no understanding of the world whatsoever, just actively farming hatred. It has to be the Luffy comparison? No. No, it has nothing to do with that. Fuck whichever chatter decided to bring up this dumb shit drama. No, I don't think this is I don't think it's valid to just say this is dumb shit drama. I think this is good to see, but it is obviously insanely brigaded. There's some, you live rent free in so many people's heads. Someone saw someone hating on you in the comments of the Ted Nivison and Tucker's new pod that didn't even mention you just because you're friends with Ted. Yeah. This is the most common tactic I've seen from Sex Pestini's community. Everything you guessed on, they will comment something like, as a longtime fan, this was too far, I'm unsubscribing. Meanwhile, they never commented on any other episode. Yeah. I'm like real life friends with these people. I don't think they understand that. The Blue Lock take is dead on, by the way, so you're right. Oh, absolutely. It is crazy how effective it is for the haters when you just ignore them. It genuinely makes them so angry. Yeah. And it's really interesting because they just don't understand. They like, because sometimes we'll stare into the darkness on this broadcast. Like, we'll look at like what they're saying, and they just can't comprehend how like journalists are still covering this guy in a positive way. What the fuck is going on? And it's like, dude, why do you think? You think like a 40-year-old journalist has no political convictions of their own? Like, you think they're going to be deluded by like a drama farmer on YouTube, like a slop tuber, and be like, wow, this is a real bad guy? You think they haven't seen internet harassment campaigns before? You are so out of touch, holy hell. No, brother, I'm not the one who's out of touch. The people that are going, we hate you because we think this person is an evil person, me, okay? We think your friend that you know better, okay, is actually secretly an evil person because we've seen YouTube videos from fucking rabid haters, is an active line of attack. The assumption that you as a random commentator, a random commenter online, is not out of touch, but I am, because what you expect in terms of like retaliation towards someone like myself is not matching the reality, is hilarious. How do you not understand that? Things will keep shocking you over and over again if you are so echo chambered and hug boxed that you genuinely believe that I am considered a fucking lolcow by anyone that is a normal human being who goes outside. Okay? That's the problem. You're like a fucking 40-year-old dude on Twitch right now being like, you're the one who's out of touch, Hasan, because in spite of the fact that you are one of the most popular fucking content creators on Twitch, I still think, me and my homies think you're a bad guy. And the more you don't realize that other people don't see it the way that you do, the more you just make up conspiracies in your mind. You can say womp womp all day, but the real womp is happening to you, old man. Calm down. That's the problem here. People go, oh, dude, he must actually secretly have a QAnon-style level of control over both Reddit and Twitch and also all of news media. You know what I mean? And at no point do you go, let me exercise a little bit of critical thinking. Perhaps me and the homies in the Discord that we're in might be a little wrong. Nope. Everyone else is. Society is. Anyway, I'm a big streamer on Twitch, so my opinion is better than yours. The shit take, to be honest. That's not what I said. You're choosing to misunderstand my point. My point is, if you're actively engaging in like toxic circles online, where the assumption is that like I am this unimaginably evil person, okay? And then what your expectations don't match the reality of the situation every time there's like a positive news article or something that comes out, and you just like go further and further into this mania. I'm trying to explain to you that there is a reason why most people don't see me the way that you do. And it's not because they have been sheltered from the truth. It's because you have deluded yourself into thinking that I'm an evil villain. This is also an ironically bad faith way to approach what I was saying. I got banned from the chat the other day for calling you a pro-Israel terrorist. I have since realized I got you confused with Asmongold. That's hilarious. My point always is this, okay? On a long enough timeline, if you were to come in here, okay, whether you're a hater or not, if you just exercised a little bit of charitability and just listened to what I was saying, I think you would most likely realize that you might be duped into believing that I'm a bad person. Okay? That's why there's so much active gaslighting anytime something happens where you're like, why are people still working with this guy? Why don't I understand? He's like a bad dude. Okay? It's not because I'm like a successful content creator. That's not the only reason. You know what I mean? I'm sure that plays a role in it. But the major reason is because most people also have the capacity to make their own choices. They understand. They have their own convictions. They are not being duped by slop tubers in the way that you and your inner circle might be, you know? The truth about you that all these people talk about is on air for 8 hours every day. Yeah. You can make up your own mind. I believe you. Okay? If you're a hater and you're in here, I promise you, you have the capacity to make up your own mind. Make up your own mind. Be your own man. Okay? Nobody wants to believe they're duped. I know. But, you know, if your expectations don't match reality so consistently, at a certain point, you got to realize, like, maybe I'm being fucking duped. You know? That's it. Anyway. Platforming someone who calls Jewish people inbred is not nice. Yeah, that's correct. If I had done that, you would be absolutely 100% correct. Except that's not what I did. Anyway, let's continue. In a little bit, I'm going to be, they're framing you as anti-Semitic. I know. If you're, listen, yeah. In a little bit, I'm going to be playing Marvel Rivals. I made a good point about people being duped this morning. People only dig deeper when you tell them they're duped. You have to ask them questions and lead them to the correct conclusion without making them feel like the dumbasses they are. That is also true. That is true. But that's why I also try to be as charitable as possible. Like, anyway. Why are they calling you? What are they calling you anti-Semitic for? I just got back. Brother, what do you think? What do you think, dude? What do you think they're calling me anti-Semitic for? That's it. Anyway, what else? What else can we? Oh, let's finish this Doge one up before I get into playing Marvel Rivals.
Checking account. A person who overspends, he says, usually goes bankrupt. We're spending more than we're taking in, and he's saying we've got to start cutting. And that's just, you might not like it, you might lose your job, but he's saying we don't have a choice.
6,700 IRS workers are going to lose their jobs. And there is some personal stories of people coming in, they're locked out of their computers.
Of attempts at isolating you and smearing you as failing, their frustration at the reality that their voices in their circles aren't actually as important as they thought shows them ultimately how insignificant they are. Yeah. By the way, yes, I called a bunch of settlers who were settler terrorists who were deliberately targeting and destroying aid going into Gaza inbred, as I have done time and time again for Klansmen, because that's precisely what they are. Okay? That is precisely what they are. That's it.
They get an email that they're done, and they say it's over performance. They say, I never even got a performance review.
They're terrorists. They're no different than the Klansmen.
Both could be true. You could have bad performance and no performance review, which is part of the problem with the federal government. There's no accountability in the big story. And if you look at what the IRS is, very few people outside Joe Biden's family thought it was a great idea to add 87,000 agents. So they were gradually adding them. Now they're going to be cutting them back. Now they're going to look at the Pentagon. Do you notice that the Treasury, Education, as soon as Linda McMahon gets there, has already mentioned it, everyone's saying, and Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, please come. Yeah. Please cut. They're going to add money to defense, but they got to get smarter. 700,000 civilian employees. How many are absolutely necessary? How much are doing redundant work? And the
Dude, this isn't like, there is no real redundancy in the federal government. If anything, we need more, okay? We need more redundancy, especially when it comes to regulations and safety, okay? There's no such thing as efficiency when it comes to safety. There's no such thing as redundancy when it comes to safety. Redundancy is good, okay? That is a good thing. Not only is redundancy a good thing, but also we're doing mass layoffs at a time when the federal government needs more people working for it, not less. Whether it be FEMA, whether it be the Army Corps of Engineers, as we talked about yesterday, it's ridiculous. You know who's actually redundant? Dumbass Fox News commentators. You know who's actually redundant and needs cuts? Billionaires, okay? Billionaires and millionaires who run corporations. Corporations can run without them. I promise you. That is the real redundancy.
The reason why speed matters, if you think about it logically, the longer you take the more people dig in and go, yeah, don't cut my program. Republicans too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's in my state. Don't do that. But if you come in with an outside force, which DOGE is, not anchored to a secretary position, and you say this is what's best for the country, also, I got deniability. I didn't cut $6,700 from the IRS. Maybe many of those are in my district. Even though it's better for the country, it's better for my political career. So you get two things. You're not responsible for it, and it was a responsible thing to do in the big picture.
It gives them the political cover that they need when they're dealing with
I think so. That's why you don't take your time.
This is true.
And you do make mistakes, but you walk it back when you do.
So this is something I'm not proud of. One person that has become a star of the Democratic Party is from Dallas, Texas, my hometown. Her name is Jasmine Crockett, and you're seeing her all over the networks, and she's making the case for Democrats. And she says that her party is not in the business of just giving out money. This is the Congresswoman.
Now, President Trump says he likes the idea of giving some of the savings from DOGE back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
No, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you if you are unable to find a job, because I am telling people we are headed towards a recession.
But Ainsley, they are. That's all they do.
She says we're not in the business of giving out money, yet she was one of the ones. There were 130 Democrats who co-sponsored a bill to establish a commission on reparation proposals in 2023. She also has supported student loans, the Democrats have, illegal migrant stipends and those debit cards, also the hotel rooms for illegal immigrants, drug kits for addicts. We've seen that there are places, safe places where you can go and shoot up in California, and the Democrats have supported that. They're giving a lot of money out to what Republicans think and Donald Trump thinks is wasteful spending.
Look, we differ. I actually want it paying down the debt. I don't want to give $5,000 back to people, even though it's your taxpayer dollars. That's what she seems to be forgetting. This is not your money. It is these are taxpayer.
All right, it's time, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs. It's time for Marvel.